Sean, go ahead.
All right. Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you, Nick. Thank you for joining us this morning. We'll be on here for about 35 minutes, and we'll have a different point in time for questions. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about federal employees. They are a good, large, untapped market. So I'm assuming you're joining this webinar because you're interested in an opportunity. Niche marketing is oftentimes one of the best ways to market because it puts you into a very defined niche of individuals that have very specific and common characteristics. So when we talk about federal employees, there's certainly an opportunity to work with federal employees. When you look at the number of federal employees, there's approximately 2.7 million federal employees, including postal. And when you look at the workforce, 39% of the workforce is age 50 or older compared to about 24% in the private sector. Average age is about 47. And the big thing is that 1 out of every 3 federal employees will be eligible to retire by 2018. So you're talking about an unprecedented number of people, somewhere in the neighborhood of around $776,000. The other misconception is that federal employees are not paid very well. Well, in fact, they are. They must be paid well in order to compete with the private sector. As a matter of fact, the average pay for all federal employees is approximately $77,000. And then what about the disbursement of federal employees? Well, about 85% of those federal employees work outside of the metro DC area. Top 10 states would include California, Texas, Virginia, Maryland, Florida, New York, Pennsylvania, Georgia, Illinois, and Ohio. So there are federal employees in every single state, and there are tools and techniques where we can show you exactly how many federal employees are in your state. Also, we can go down to a county level. Now, as far as assisting federal employees, there are 7 key areas that you can assist federal employees, and it depends on where they are in their career as to whether they may need this assistance or not. The first opportunity comes in the area of pension income alternatives, or sometimes referred to as Pension Max. So they do have a survivor option, and they do have several options. So this may present an opportunity for you to help them choose the appropriate survivor income options, and that particular solution would be a life insurance-based solution. Another area of risk that federal employees face that most of them are not familiar with is in the area of their service. If a federal employee covered under the new system, which is those people hired from 1984 and beyond, under the first, if they have less than 10 years of service and they're not 62 with 5 years of service, they don't have a pension. So that represents a risk management issue, and most federal employees are not familiar with that as being a potential risk. Another area to assist federal employees is their thrift savings plan. The thrift savings plan is the largest pension plan in the world with over $569 billion. And the incredible thing is about 40% of that, $269 billion, is in their G fund, which is effectively a money market account. So they need some assistance in terms of looking at what their correct allocations are based on their needs. And then when they get ready to retire, they're going to need some opportunities perhaps on distribution options that would make it available for you to provide assistance. The fourth area comes in an archaic defined contribution program called the Voluntary Contribution Program, otherwise known as a VCP. This is only available for those employees covered under the old system, which is the CSRS system. Now, that system closed out its last participant on December 31st, 1983. So of that number, the 2.7 million, according to the Office of Personnel Management, today, only approximately 2% of the federal workforce population, or about 55,000 people, are available in that particular group. Now, what this program is it's a very unique loophole that came about as a change in the IRS tax law in 2008 that essentially allows individuals to put up to 10% of everything they've earned as a CSRS classified federal employee. And through the change in this tax law, they have a way that they can actually take that money and move it into a Roth, thus avoiding the contribution limits that are low, around $6,000, and the income limits. So again, it's just simply a way to take non-qualified money and use this VCP as a conduit to get it into a Roth IRA. So this will give you a little information to wet your whistle about what the TSP as far as participants go. As you can see, there's a large amount of money in the TSP and as far as the number of participants. And you'll see that there's some sweet spots in that $250,000 to $500,000 range. And there's approximately 9,600 people that have over $1 million. The The other area that they need your assistance comes in the area of, excuse me, additional risk management issues. The first thing is they have a federal employee group life insurance. It is a group life insurance that has about 4 million active and retired federal employees that participate. And what happens is that they have 4 different coverages that are available. They have a basic coverage, they have an option A, an option B, and an option C. Well, the option B is the one that gives them a salary multiple that can go up to 5 times their salary. The challenge is that when they get into their 50s, particularly mid-50s and later, the cost of that insurance skyrockets exponentially. It's also possible that over the course of their history of working with the federal government, that they may in fact pay more in premiums than they would ever get out in a death benefit. So that represents a life insurance need. Another is under the area of disability. They don't have a true disability insurance program. They have a disability retirement program. And the way that it works is that the first year they get 60% of their high 3, offset by 100% of Social Security. The second year they drop to 40% and they're offset 60% from Social Security. So this presents a need to look to see if they need maybe some long-term disability coverage, or maybe in a situation where it may be a combination with a life insurance policy that has a disability rider. The final area comes in the form of long-term care. They do have a long-term care group plan that's administered by John Hancock. However, over the last, since the inception in 2002, they've had 2 renewals. They are on a 7-year cycle, and both of those renewals came with a very substantial rate increase. So what they've recently done is, in October, is they recently introduced long-term care 3.0, and it makes the premiums extremely high compared to where they were. So this presents an opportunity to help them handle the risk management of longevity with long-term care, and that can be accomplished either through a separate long-term care policy or some type of living benefit rider that would cover critical, chronic, and perhaps even a disability. So those are the 7 areas that are available to work with federal employees, and in doing so, you can probably find different ways to assist them with their programs. So at this point, you're probably asking yourself 2 questions. What would be the best way to find new prospects and turn them into clients? And how can I get the professional knowledge that I'll need to work with feds? Well, hopefully I'll be able to provide you that answer. I've been working now with federal employees for approximately a decade. And over that period of time, I've probably spoken to around 20,000 federal employees. All in, I have about 31 years of experience with the financial services industry. I'm no longer in practice. So what I tell people is if you're going to get involved with the federal space, you need the 3 C's of commitment. The first C is a commitment to be a scholar of the benefits, because unlike the plans that you're used to working with, ERISA-based plans, federal plans are governed by federal law and federal statute, which oftentimes are dramatically different than what you would see with a ERISA-based plan. The second C is the commitment of the time to develop this market. Unlike some of your broader-based markets like Social Security or things of that nature, this is a very defined market. So you have to make sure that you have the time in order to develop the market. The other C of commitment is the commitment of the financial resources that it will take to get into this market. This market can be often challenging to break into, but once you get in, the experience that I've seen by people that continue to work towards this is that it's a very profitable market, and it's a market that can continue to provide sources of prospects for you for many years to come. So in order to provide you the assistance to work with financial advisors, my company, Federal Employee Benefits Advocates, has programs for both financial advisors and for federal employees. So the first program that we're going to discuss is the FedEd. This is our 2-day hands-on advisor training program. And what we do is we give you the knowledge, the tools, and the support that you'll need to work with federal employees. In addition to that, we also have another program called FEBA Seminars that provides educational benefit seminars that you can use to help educate federal employees and thus build a relation with them in terms of helping them to assist them in understanding their benefits and possibly finding some solutions where there may be some challenges. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the FED program, the FedEd program. Well, the FedEd program starts with what we call a pre-study guide. This is basically to introduce you to important information and to get you prepared for the class. So very similar for those of you that may have taken a preparatory class for your life insurance or maybe some of your securities exams. They usually send you the information in advance to get you ready for the class. And we try to send that out approximately 2 weeks in advance of the start of the class so that you can have an adequate amount of time to read through the material. So it's going to give you a cursory overview of the topics that we'll cover in the class and get you prepared so when you show up, you've at least got some type of base of knowledge in the program. Once you arrive at the class, we're going to give you what's called a classroom workbook. This will have copies of the slides that will go over all the different nuances of the federal employee benefits, and we'll also provide you with different exercises to help drill for skill and solidify the concepts within the different calculations that you do with federal employees. Now, a question I often get is, will you receive a copy of the slides in a soft copy for the class? And the answer is no, we do not provide that. We only provide you with the hard copy. And we only offer these classes on hands-on face-to-face. We don't do any pre-recorded or webinars or things of that nature. And the reason being is, my experience I've found is that in order to try to do something like that, it's very difficult because of the depth of the content. Oftentimes people will get distracted for the period of time we need to do it. And I can't really convey to you my experience in working with federal employees and advisors who actually work in this space. So on the second day of the class, this is really kind of our secret sauce, if you will, is we teach you how to market to federal employees. And we do this through a program that we created called Identify, Locate, and Communicate, where we teach you how to locate various opportunities within the federal space, how to identify them, how to locate them, and then we provide you some communication materials. Some of that comes as a part of the class. Some of it's available to be purchased on a separate basis, things such as postcards and flyers and brochures. So we do give you some face-to-face marketing materials. Some of them come as a result of the class. Some of them come as a result of you making purchases, which you can purchase from our website, our online store. We also have additional prospecting pieces. So what we're going to do is we're going to teach you how to build your own organic list for the purposes of prospecting directly to federal employees, for the purposes of doing a benefits analysis, which we'll discuss in a few moments. Prospecting to federal agencies so that you can go on site. We'll also teach you how to become a federal contractor so you can bid on contracts and be able to charge if you choose to do so. And then a hybrid where you would be able to do something off site with the goal of hopefully being able to get back on site at some point in time. So these are some of the various prospecting pieces that we provide. We also provide you with a software program from a company called Ready Retire Solutions. It's based out of Dallas, Oregon. We've had a long relationship with them pretty much since the inception of the firm. And the reason we utilize the Ready Retire is because they have a specific software program called the Federal Gap Analysis that will allow you to do a very in-depth report for the federal employees. And this is oftentimes the sweetener that you can add for them to come and sit down with you, either individually or if you do a federal employee benefit briefing, a seminar. This is something that you can offer those individuals if they agree to sign up to meet with you after the class. And so this comes included as a part of the class. The other reason why we use it, is because it also has an upgradable version that will show you all the state DB plans for all the states in the United States. So if you're working with federal employees and you may be working with state employees, this will also provide an updated or upgraded version in which you can actually find out information about the state employees. So it's a very good software program. As I said, we've been working with them for many, many years. In addition to that, we also provide you with a digital resource guide. This is a library of forms that you would use in the course of working with federal employees. The idea here is to help you to better understand some of the benefits and to provide you kind of at a touch the various forms that you might need to work with federal employees. So the issue here is really trying to shorten that learning curve that you would have with working with federal employees and giving you some additional full deep dive material. Also, you'll have the ability to take an online exam after you've taken the course. The online exam is 100 questions. If you score successfully, you have 2 hours to take it. If you score successfully, 75% or better, we'll send you a framed certificate that says that you have been through the FedEd Advisor program. We do not offer any type of professional designation with this. None of the designations that are out there are recognized by OPM. Most of them are just some that have been made up for the simple purpose of marketing to derive fees for that. So just so we clarify on that, FINRA does not review nor do they approve any designation. And so if you do happen to see one that is on the FINRA site, do not assume that FINRA has reviewed it. Also, the federal government does not recognize any specific federal type of designations. Also, in addition, we'll talk a little bit later, there are some CEE credits that are available from various states, and also we have CFP credits that are available for this particular class, 12 hours in all cases. So what do you get? You get a pre-study guide that has the materials that we'll be covering in the class to get you ready. You have the classroom workbook for both the classroom exercises as well as the marketing workbook. We give you the Ready Retire solution. We also provide you with the online exam, and we also provide you with the digital resource guide. Now, the cost for this class is $16.95, and that only includes the cost of the class. It doesn't include any travel, meals, or any other items that would be associated with the class. So at this point, Nick, let's open it up to see if people have any questions, and then we can move on.
All right. If you'd like, you can unmute yourself. I don't think anybody's muted that. Go ahead. Screen there's a chat functionality. And so go ahead and chat out any questions you might have. And not seeing anybody jump in today, Sean, I think we should just keep moving forward.
All right, that sounds good, Nick. All right, well, the second part of our program, there's the CE that are available in the states. Colorado, Florida, Maryland, Pennsylvania, Virginia, West Virginia, DC, all give you 12 hours of CFP and 12 hours of CFP credits if you have the designation. So the next thing we're going to talk about is the Federal Employee Benefits Advocate Seminar Program. This is designed to help you build relationships with federal employees to provide an educational foundation that will allow you to educate them, at the same time help them to realize that they do need assistance and that you're there to help them provide that assistance. So these programs are set up as what's known as full day and half day briefings. That's how the federal government refers to them. So we have the version for the CSRS, which is the individuals that were hired prior to 1984. We have full and half day versions. We also have the FERS briefing, which is full and half day. And both the CSRS and the FERS briefing have individual independent modules where you can go out and do a module, say if you want to do something on the pension or life insurance or say the savings program or health insurance, Social Security. These are all set up so that they can be delivered separately. Now, we license this material. This is a single license user, so you're not purchasing a license, you're actually just using it under a licensing agreement. And we have different pricing models depending on what you decide that you want to use. We also have, in addition to that, a full and half day financial literacy briefing. These are designed to be generic, and these are usually done in conjunction with the full day briefing. We'll usually do a half a day briefing afterwards. And then our newest program that we've offered is divorce and its effect on federal employees. Now, we have another package. It's not included on this slide, but we also have created one recently this past year for the blended military. So if you do work with military personnel, particularly those folks that are new into the military, this is also another seminar program that we have available to be licensed. So the workbooks that accompany the program are very useful. They're full and half day workbooks that are available and are required if you do purchase the material to be utilized when you present the material. As you can tell, they're very well put together with the programs that we use with our graphic designer and other resources and printers. These come coil bound with a hard card stock cover front and back, and then a plastic cover. So it looks very, very professional from that perspective. Inside, there's different materials that help the presenter to be able to understand or present sometimes complex concepts that are done graphically to help the federal employees understand this. Now, they are not printed in the book in color. That would be very expensive to do. They are black and white, but as you can see, the format is set up so that they have 2 slides per page, and then they have a place to make notes. So it is very well presented and very well received by the federal employees. One of the unique tools that we have available that differentiates our program from anybody else is the benefits worksheet. This is a worksheet that we take the participants through in a full day class that provides them the opportunity to put down their numbers. Now, some financial advisors have said, well, Sean, why would you do something like that? because that would simply just negate them sitting down with me. Well, that's actually not how it actually works. What happens is, first off, it allows them to look at their benefits on a holistic fashion. The second thing that it does is it oftentimes makes them realize that they don't have all the information they need to be able to complete the worksheet. They don't have all the decisions to be made. Also, the other thing that it does is if they do come and sit down with you, then it acts as initially a fact finder that you can use to work off of to find out what their angst points are so that you can help them with their various solutions. So that's the benefits worksheet. In addition to that, we also have a customized invitation if you license the material that will be provided to you in the material so that you can invite the people to the federal meeting so that they understand what will be covered, the topics. Also, and if you're going to do an offsite, it can provide registration information as well. In addition to that, you can also enhance your relationship with your agency contacts through a summary report. This is a valuable tool that you can use so that when the course is over with, you can provide them with a comprehensive report that essentially scores the evaluations in both a numeric and a percentage fashion, and then affords you the opportunity using the Adobe software to combine them all together with the evaluation so that they have one comprehensive report on what actually occurred. Now, this really accomplishes a couple things. The first thing it does is it solidifies that you did what you said you were going to do, and it was well received by the federal employees. The second thing that it does is it allows you to sit down with the federal agency afterwards, the point of contact, and be able to go over the various evaluations and potentially ask if you can do additional briefings. And then the third thing that it does is it provides an opportunity to potentially ask for referrals so that they may be able to share this with their other colleagues or other sister agencies that they interact with. So again, this is again a differentiator that we offer in our seminar programs. This is just some examples of the financial literacy book. Again, this is designed to be generic so that it could be delivered to anyone. So oftentimes this is a briefing. They bring their spouse who may not be a federal employee, so this provides them an opportunity to get some information, and it also solidifies some other investment concepts, as well as providing them with some information about estate planning that would covers wills and trust and titling of assets and things of that nature. In addition to that, we also have another, like I said, our newest program is divorce and its effect on federal employees. Over the last 10 years, that's probably the area that I've probably gotten the most questions, and it's unfortunately an area where federal employees can get hurt in a way that is very devastating to them from the cost associated with the divorce for the long term, particularly if they remarry. Just in the last couple of weeks, I've dealt with some attorneys who are in the process of helping federal employees, and they had no idea what they were doing. And after I had a conversation with them, they were very happy that I was able to share some things with them that they would be able to use to help them with their client's divorce, and to make sure that the client was protected and not taken advantage of by not having the correct knowledge that they need for the divorce. You see, divorce in the federal case, unlike ERISA plans, state laws dictate what happens in a divorce. Federal law and federal statute overwrites any of those state requirements. And so oftentimes there is a disconnect between what they need to do for the federal program and what they don't need to do. As an example, I was doing a briefing yesterday in Houston, and there was a gentleman in the class who had been divorced 20 years ago, and he was unaware that he was supposed to file his divorce papers and the information in a document called a court order acceptable for processing. Well, he's planning on retiring in the next couple of years. Had he not come to that class, he would have had a hot mess by the time he got ready to retire, and possibly delayed his retirement payments for maybe up to 6 or 9 months because of the various paperwork that the OPM requires you to go through when you do have a divorce. So we do offer a complete comprehensive program to present the federal benefits. We have the communication pieces, the complete training, the benefits worksheet, and the workbook, as well as the summary reports. So those are the Federal Employee Benefits Advocates programs. And again, after this class, you'll be receiving a copy of this webinar along with a link to our online store so that you can peruse the various offerings that we have. So these are the two programs, the FedEd Advisor program, giving you the tools, the knowledge, and support that you need, and to supplement that with educational training through the FEBA seminars licensed agreements that you would use to present the programs. So the cost associated with the programs, they're $2,500 each. The financial literacy is $2,000. The divorce is $2,500. Now we've got some specials running right now through the end of January. We have a special that if you license the FERS program, we give you the CSRS program basically free for the first year. All of these will have a $500 renewal program. So what it really does is provide you with an already laid out, comprehensive, time-tested seminar program that's available. And again, we work diligently to make sure that it stays updated and correct as we go throughout the changes that occur throughout the year. In some cases, you may decide that you want to license the material, but you don't want to present it maybe initially. And we can be hired to come in. We charge a speaking fee of $15 a day, plus reasonable travel associated with the program, as well as the books. Now, the books, the cost are $10 per day for a full day workbook, or $8 a day for a half-day workbook, and then the modules run somewhere between $2 to $3. So that's our standard pricing model. Another alternative pricing model is for people who say, you know, I don't really want to license the material. I'm only going to do a couple seminars a year, and I don't really want to take the time nor the effort to do the speaking, or maybe, you know, you just don't like to do public speaking. We can be hired for a rate of $2,000 per day, plus the reasonable travel and expense. For the speaking fee. If you do multi-day programs, we oftentimes will give you a discount for that. So you would also pay for the travel as you would for the other program, plus $10 for the full day books, $8 for the half day books. At this point, Nick, let's open it up and see if anyone has any questions about the FEBA seminar or about the FedEd program in general.
Understood. I think everybody's unmuted, so go ahead, anybody, and shout out the question I have. Anything? True. Will be video. Double check anything. And with that,
All right. Well, I don't see anyone that has any questions. So let's talk about when our next FedEd class will be. We have I don't know why this says April and May. I guess I did not get this done properly. The dates are actually January 22nd and 23rd in San Marcos, California, which is a little north of San Diego. So when we send you the information, we'll also send you the link. Registration closes on the 5th of January. We want to make sure you had adequate time to be able to prepare for the class. We will have a schedule of other classes that will be available. We're working on one now on the East Coast for February. Don't have the exact details on that, but those will be forthcoming and be available on our website in the near term. So if there's no additional questions, Nick, let's go ahead and close it out. I want to thank everybody for coming today. If you do have additional questions or you want to ask me some individual questions, you can check out our website at febadvocates.com, or you can give me a call at 720-432-3331. And with that, everyone, thank you. Have a great weekend, and we'll hopefully be speaking with each of you soon. Bye-bye.